Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce Ng. It's days before the Emmy nominations are announced, but this is the last time Joyce and I are going to talk before the Emmy nominations. So we'll probably talk on Slack all the time. But in this setting, this is the last time we're going to talk until the nominations. So Joyce, let's go through the categories briefly and just kind of like figure out the state of these nominations, which I'm sure we're going to change our picks very much up to Monday, right up until the deadline.
I mean, like we have we're both on the East Coast, so we have until like mid Tuesday morning.
It's true, yeah, because the nominations aren't even
announced at 11:30. Yeah,
right. What a great! I would urge the Oscars to do this next year.
The Emmys do it right.
So the one thing the Emmys definitely do right is announcing their nominations at 11:30 East Coast, 8:30 West Coast. Just a brilliant strategy. Congratulations, Television Academy. You won. It's great. So we'll just start here. We were talking about this before we started. Comedy. Most people have Ted Lasso winning. Seems like nothing will stop it. The top, according to if you went chalk on your predictions, the Gold Derby odds: Ted Lasso, Flight Attendant, Hacks, Kaminsky Method, Pen 15, Blackish, Master of None, and Girls 5 Eva. Those would be the top 8 nominees in this category, where there will be 8 nominees, I believe, for Best Comedy Series. I don't have all those picked, Joyce. I left off Pen 15 and Master of None.
Interesting. For what?
I have Mythic Quest and Dickinson in there.
Wow, you're just like an Apple show.
It's really going hard on Apple TV Plus. I feel like they've actually put a lot of weight behind their campaigns, more so I feel like perhaps anecdotally than the other streamers and stuff. I don't know.
Are you hoping just because of the love of Ted would emanate elsewhere?
A little bit, but I'll tell you 2 reasons why. Mythic Quest was, I think, a great show in its first season. Kind of just was very underrated, maybe, or not necessarily. People were not aware of it. And I feel like they did a couple of pandemic specials that got a lot of buzz, and the second season, which has been airing during voting in a potential shrewd move, I feel like people really like the second season. So I have Mythic Quest in there. I think it'll get in. And then Dickinson, I just really like this second season. I could totally be a hack here.
That's your whole fiction.
Totally in the bag. But I thought it was a great season, a big, I think, an upgrade from the first season, and kind of maybe the type of show that had a lot of buzz. And they put a lot of effort into it as well. So I have Dickinson in. Pen 15, good show, but I just don't feel I just don't know if I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing that'll happen. And Master of None, we've talked about this a lot, just not a comedy to me. So I don't have it getting
not a comedy, but I can see I have it in still, because I could kind of see it being like Curb Your Enthusiasm last year, where it got into series and basically got no other major nominations when everyone was predicting Larry David too. I think maybe just the name alone ish sort of, although if you watch it, then it's a drama this season. It's very good, but it's a full-on drama,
right?
Yeah, so I don't have any of the actors in right now, but I still have that in series. And I had Pen 15 because it did get the writing nomination for its first season 2 years ago, so it's on its radar. And people the second season, or the first half of the second season, was well received, even though that was almost 9 months ago now that it came out. But I could see it could be a writing backed nominee. It could get maybe one or both leads in, although it's 5 slots and actress, so kind of tight. But I have that in. I do not have Blackish. It hasn't been nominated in series since 2018. And last year both Anthony Anderson and Tracy Ellis Ross made it in. I could see both of them getting in without the show again. And so my last spot is Cobra Kai.
Nice.
Which I am not confident about. Yeah. So I'm not even confident about Girls 5 Eva. We've talked about this so many times. It's is the visibility for it high enough, being on Peacock?
We'll find out next week. I don't know. I'm hoping it is. I actually recently, we'll get to it, but I put Paul Appel back in. I'm going all in on Girls 5 Eva. So, Yeah, I don't even know what else. I mean, the other possibility here is like Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist, but
I
that
don't.
got canceled, so I knocked it out of everything.
I mean, I don't think like the cancellation really. I don't think it neither like hurts nor helps it. Like, I mean, you could argue like either way that like, oh, they'll like pity it,
True, that's true.
or they're like, we don't want to like vote for a canceled show. But I never understood that logic, because if you like the show, you're or the performances or whatever like aspect of the show, you're gonna vote for it. It doesn't matter. Like canceled like shows have been nominated before.
It's true.
So,
It's
and I'm
true.
talking
You're
about
right.
like purely canceled shows, not shows that like ended on their own terms. Like this show
Right.
obviously did not
Right.
end on their own terms. So yeah, I don't really understand the argument of like people just not voting for a show just because it got canceled.
We have a couple of options like that. We have Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist and Lovecraft Country, which which we'll talk about. Both of which were canceled unexpectedly. So perhaps I don't know. I thought they would do second season of Lovecraft Country at the very least. Best actress for comedy. We can go through. Kaley Cuoco is still holding strong at the top of the odds. I do not have her winning, but bless Kaley Cuoco.
I mean, I think that's just a symptom of her being, her show being out longer than half, and
Yes.
people haven't been updating.
Jean Smart for Hacks, Tracy Ellis Ross for Blackish, Renee Elise Goldsberry for Girls 5 Eva, and Jane Levy for Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. That would be the 5 chalk nominees. I have all of the top 4. I knocked Jane Levy off, and I put Allison Janney on for the final season of Mom.
Wow.
I don't think that'll maybe happen, but I just was like, it's the final season. People love Allison Janney.
She hasn't been nominated in a couple of years, though.
I know. That's why I was like, well, maybe. And it's also like it's over. So I was like, I don't know. Maybe she'll get in. But that was my one twist pick. I guess the other ones, Allison Janney is in 6th in the odds, and then Maya Erskine from Pen 15 in 7th, Lena Waithe 8th, and Anna Conkle for Pen 15 9th.
Yeah. Well, I guess I shouldn't say anything about Allison because she is like highly pretty good. But like my 5th person, I have Robin Thede, just as like a completely rogue pick because I didn't know who to put in the 5th slot.
Awesome pick. Love
I'll
it so
probably
much.
change that. I don't know if I'll keep her, but I still don't know if I replace her who I would land on. I guess maybe Maya.
I mean, that seems like the prominent, popular-ish pick, right? If you're not going to go Jane and you're not going to go Allison, she's next in the odds. But yeah, I mean, this is like, I don't want to say this is like not a strong category because I think all the people in it are really good. It's just since there's only 5 nominees, it feels like short compared to the other ones, I guess.
Yeah. But again, as we've talked about, it used to just be 5 everywhere.
Of course, right. Now it's like, well, now we have to make decisions, Joyce. It's so much harder.
I know. But then like in other categories, you have trouble filling out like 8 or 7 spots.
It's true, which we'll get to. I don't have much else to say about comedy actress. I guess we'll see. I still have Jean Smart winning. I think you do as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could definitely convince myself to pick Kaley Cuoco. And I feel like it would be great if she did win, but I just think the Jean Smart assance has been too strong, and maybe
I mean, I would support a tie between.
Maybe it'll be a tie, right?
I don't know, but I think it feels right for Jean. I can't explain it really.
It does. I don't know why either, and I also feel like, Hacks is going to get a second season, but not relatively soon. I don't think, you know what I mean? Like it's like Flight Attendant we know is going to air in like either fall or winter. So it'll be like you'll have Kelly again here in 2022 for Emmys. And I don't know if the Hacks will get in by May. You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think Flight Attendant might even be like skipping next Emmys. I think it's coming out like past like the next after like next year's on. I don't know
what? You're right. It's going to go back in production and it's not going to air. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. That's so maybe 3 years from now, Kaley Cuoco can win an Emmy. I guess that's the idea, and we'll see. I don't know. It would be nice. Comedy actor. This one I feel like is another one we don't need to spend a lot of time on. Ted Lasso. Jason Sudeikis is running away with this category.
I mean, honestly, like no offense to like anyone else in this, but they could just like give it to him right now.
Truly, the rest of the nominee, it would be Michael Douglas in the odds. I have the chalk 5 here, but it's Sudeikis, Michael Douglas for Kaminsky Method, Anthony Anderson, Blackish, Kenan Thompson for Kenan, and Ted Danson for Mr. Mayor. And then on the fringe is Ralph Macchio in 6th, Rob McElhenney for Mythic Quest in 7th, Willie Zabka in 8th.
Billy Zav. Yeah.
and William H. Macy in ninth.
Is that what you call him?
I do, honestly.
You guys are so cool.
Willie Zabka. I don't know. I mean, that I have this the regular chalk 5, and I have Jason Sudeikis winning. I don't see any reason to change that.
I mean, I feel like Keenan and Ted are just like they're getting predicted based on like their names.
Yeah.
I don't know if both of them or even one of them will make it in. I have who do I have? I have Willie Zabs and Rob in my 4 and 5, which I am not confident about either.
I should actually switch to Rob, and by the time this is being watched, I probably will have. But I'm like,
I mean, you're predicting Mythic Quest.
Yeah, if I think that show's going to get in, I actually think he could get in too. I don't think that would be like a total shock, let's say, if he got nominated.
Yeah, and then I don't know. There's also like Alan Tudyk from Resident Alien, but then it's like also are they like watching that as well? This category historically is not very strong, even in like the non-COVID year.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's Jason's. So
comedy, a supporting actress. I gotta be honest, this one has been giving me fits. There's 7 nominees here. A ton of SNL people, a ton of Ted Lasso, flight attendant all over the place. Hannah Waddingham is in the lead very strongly in the odds. I have her winning as well. She's just really great. And then the rest of the odds would be Kate McKinnon 2, Cecily Strong, Rosie Perez 3, Juno Temple 4, Hannah Einbinder 5, Zoja Mamet 6, and then that would really, or I'm sorry, 7, I guess, but beyond Hannah. So that would be the 7. And then you have like Adie Bryant and Paula Pell as like 8th and 9th. I actually put Paula Pell in. I knocked out Zoja Mamet and Adie Bryant in my picks. I don't know. I love them all. This is a really tough category.
Yeah, I mean, I also think Hannah Waddingham is winning. So I have double Ted, double SNL with Kate and Cecily, and double flight attendant with Rosie and Zoja, and then a solo nomination for Hacks with the other Hannah.
I have her in too.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, and like I don't feel confident about any of the flight attendant ladies either. I can see, I think we talked about this last week, like I can see like just like Kaylee being nominated, but like, you know, they did get the SAG ensemble nomination, which I wasn't really expecting,
right,
especially because it was a first year show and like a late first year show. So I think that helps its cause to like get additional acting nominations, but I also don't know if like either like Rosie, like Michelle Gomez was my favorite from that supporting cast, amazing, but I don't know if like any of the 3 of them would get in, and yet I
wonder that. And also I'm like, so like Rosie Perez, I would say would be, I have her, it's funny, I have only Rosie Perez getting in from the show, but if you ask me who is like if I was ranking them, I would put Rosie Perez 3rd behind Zoja and Michelle Gomez, just because she doesn't really have as much to do.
And like her storyline was like so separate.
Her storyline is so separate and really kind of like just teeing up season 2, basically. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm like, but it's Rosie Perez, and when she is doing stuff, she's great. So it's like a weird, I don't know. I still have Paula Pell in there. That's definitely like a Hope Dick thing. I don't think it's going to happen, but I mean, she's really I found her to be the funniest part of Girls 5 Eva. They give her like the best material, I think, even better than Renee. So I'm just like, I kind of hope she gets in. I mean, I have Paula in and out
like 4 times.
Right. I have Hannah Waddingham winning, and I don't think anything in the new episodes of Ted Lasso will disabuse that notion, which they air during Emmy voting. At least the season starts.
Yeah, I haven't watched season 2 yet, so
I know, I'm sure there's embargoes up the wazoo, but I would just say like it's not like she disappears from the show, so it's like I think she'll be like top of mind to people. But I kind of could see Cecily Strong making a really late run, especially if she ends up leaving SNL. And again, thinking like trying to Charlie Day message like Homeland board things. I'm like, if Cecily Strong has her own Apple show, people are going to be like maybe interested in that. Maybe she kind of like gets like a lot of buzz going and could maybe win, but I don't think so. I guess we'll decide this. We'll see if they're even nominated or what even happens. You could tell me half these people don't get nominated. I'd be like, okay, it's a pretty.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like we didn't even mention Kathleen Turner.
Kathleen Turner. We didn't mention Naomi Ackie, which we talked about like previously.
Former nominee Laurie Metcalf.
Yep. It's a pretty deep, somehow deep category. Yet who knows? Supporting actor, similarly, just filled with Ted Lasso. But the odds are Kenan Thompson for SNL, Bowen Yang for SNL, Brett Goldstein for Ted Lasso, Michelle Huisman. I'm saying that wrong, I'm sure, but for Flight Attendant, love that guy. Brendan Hunt for Ted Lasso, Ray Romano for Made for Love, and Alex Newell for Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. That's the top 7. And then Nick Mohammed 8th for Ted Lasso, Jeremy Swift 9th for Ted Lasso, Lawrence Fishburne 10th for Blackish. So okay, I have what do you got?
I mean, I like love Ray Romano, but I don't really understand. I mean, I know why he's still in the top 7.
So I still have him in, but I don't feel like anybody's talking about that show very much.
No, like that. I mean, that show has been renewed for a 2nd season, but it just kind of like came and went when it premiered. And then like even like any sort of like buzz it did have, Hacks completely stole it.
Right.
Once that came.
Right.
So I understand why people were predicting him like when we launched in like March or whatever, and like we knew that show was coming. But yeah, he's.
So if like, you don't have him in, who do you have out?
No, I don't have him in.
So who do you have in?
I have I have Pete Davidson.
Wow, like from SNL. Why not?
I have Pete, and I have everybody else I think in that's already in there. And I don't have Alex Newell, so I have Nick Mohammed in. So
I have Nick Mohammed in instead of Alex Newell, and I have the chalk of everybody else.
Yeah.
Again, though, this is a pretty like lengthy category where you could tell me like any number of people get nominated, and I'd be like, yes, sure. Like there's definitely like a favorite group. I think I actually could see, it's like the top 3. I could see any of the top 3 winning right now. It's Kenan, Bowen Yang, and Brett Goldstein. I wonder honestly if Brett Goldstein could win, just because like maybe is it possible Kenan and Bowen split votes between the SNL guys, and then like Brett somehow is definitely a cut above the rest of the Ted Lasso supporting characters, so perhaps he gets a boost. I don't know, but yeah, I have Nick Mohammed in and Alex Newell not in, but I could see any of these people getting in. So
yeah, like it could, like Ted can like run the table here, like how like Game of Thrones did it in supporting actress a couple years ago and stuff. But like if they just like really fall head over heels for the show and they're just like checking everybody off for it.
Yeah. I mean, like Jeremy Swift is an interesting test case because he's actually hilarious on the show, but he's not high up in the odds. And so is Nick Mohammed.
And like that show is very like dude heavy.
So. Right. Exactly. And then let's do guest actor and guest actress. We've talked about this before. The top 5 in the odds are Maya Rudolph, Tina Fey for Girls Five Eva, Kristen Wiig for SNL, Issa Rae for Black Lady Sketch Show, and Anya Taylor-Joy for SNL, and then Andrea Anders for Ted Lasso and Elizabeth Shue for Cobra Kai. I have the top 4, and then I don't have Anya Taylor-Joy. I took Elizabeth Shue from your favorite show, Cobra Kai.
And I don't have Elizabeth Shue. I have Andrea Anders. I still have her.
I could see that. I don't think she's in it enough, frankly, but like I guess it doesn't matter.
A guest category.
Right, it doesn't matter. Right, so that's fine. I will say I was watching it's such a great robust time here. I was watching SNL videos last night, and I watched a couple from Anya Taylor-Joy's episode. Funny episode. So I can honestly see maybe we've been kind of like not really bought into her as a potential nominee, really, just because like she has Queen's Gambit, obviously. But I don't know, that episode was funny. She didn't really do that much. She played more of like the straight woman in a lot of it. But I mean, if people remember that, I think it was the finale of the year. So if people are like fond of that episode, maybe she gets in. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like all the talk of that episode was like who of like the cast was leaving, right? Like no one was really talking about her or like any particular sketch or like digital short she was in, right? But I mean, again, if they're just like loving her and like Queen's Gambit, they could just
Right.
turn off.
Guest comedy actor, the Chalk nominees would be Chappelle for SNL, Dan Levy for SNL, Anthony Head for Ted Lasso, Ray J. Jean Page for SNL, and Chris Rock for SNL. I just have the Chalk. I didn't even stray here. I was like, you know what?
Wait, did you dump Adam Driver?
I did. I had Adam Driver in there for last week tonight, and I dumped him. I would love to be
Real.
wrong. I would love to be wrong, but I was just like, I think people are not going to go too deep on this. I think they're just going to like look at them and just be like, here's what I want. And I'm just going to pick these SNL people.
Yeah, I think like SNL could get anywhere from like 2 to 4 nominations in this category. And they would all make sense.
Right.
Like, and I currently just have 2. I just have Chappelle and Dan Levy. So I have Anthony Head and Morgan Freeman.
Nice.
From Kaminsky.
Playing himself on Kaminsky.
Yes. And my Hope Diction, Bowen Yang, who I don't think is going to get it.
Boy, I would love it though. We've talked about this. He's so funny on Girls Five
so
Eva.
funny.
Incredible. It's really my favorite episode, and it's like so
it's
good.
probably, I would say it's probably like the best episode.
I think it's the best episode, and I really think he's so funny on it, and I would love to see him get nominated here. It's just, he rules so much. If he got nominated, can he win? I still think Chappelle is going to win because it's like Dave Chappelle, but I don't know. If Bowen Yang gets in, I hope they make it like a play to get him an Emmy here for this.
Well, I have Bowen winning for SNL.
Wow. So we can have two Bowen Yang wins, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, no one's had arguably definitely the biggest breakout of the year for them on SNL. So why not? Drama series. I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on these. The Crown is going to win, seemingly. First time. Then it's Mandalorian, Bridgerton, Handmaid's Tale, Lovecraft Country, Pose, This Is Us, and The Boys. That would be the top 8. 9, if you're looking to pick out of the top 8, the Chalk nominees would be Perry Mason, In Treatment, Falcon and Winter Soldier are 9, 10, and 11. I didn't bother though. I just went with Chalk. Sorry.
See, like this is like comedy. It's very top heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like those, like the top 7 makes sense because you have like the favorites and returning nominees, or like shows trying to return, like Pose and This Is Us. So it makes sense to predict them, especially since they were dropped last year when it was highly competitive. So they take it back in this year when a lot of the big guns are out. And then Lovecraft, canceled Lovecraft, is in, which also makes sense. And then I think it's just like you have to pick something for that 8th spot. And I do have The Boys. So
I have The Boys too, but I'm not totally convinced that'll get nominated, and not to again be like, boy, really into these Apple TV shows. And I honestly haven't even finished it, but For All Mankind has been getting a lot of buzz. I feel like they've been very, very noisy, doing like interviews and profiles and all these different things around the season. And the second season, I think, was pretty highly acclaimed by people who watched it and critics. I wonder if that gets in. I wonder if that kind of like show kind of big is a surprise nominee. It's like 100 to 1 odds for us right now, kind of like buried towards the middle of the bottom pack. But I wonder if that's just because people are not predicting it and haven't updated or whatever. And does that show kind of get in? I could definitely see that happening though.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's like all the way in 18th.
Right.
Yeah. It should be higher than 18th. I can see it getting in. Maybe I'll put it in somewhere. I don't know.
I think I'm going to put it in instead of The Boys. I'm going to do it. I also feel like The Boys there hasn't been a lot of noise about that lately.
I mean, I would say it's definitely like Amazon's top play for drama. And you know, it did get, I can see both The Boys and For Mankind being sort of like the writing back nominee, kind of like Pen 15 in comedy, where, because like The Boys, they get a WGA nomination,
right? And
I've mentioned this before. I could see it being kind of like What We Do in the Shadows last year, which also got a WGA nomination, but that was for new series for its season. The Boys got it for drama series, and you know, The Shadows got in last year and it got 3 writing nominations.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I
guess I won't switch. You convinced me not to switch, but I do think that For All Mankind is like a good upset.
Oh pick. Yeah, like I can like already see the headlines where it's like a shocker that like For All Mankind got nominated, but it's not really, it's just not like a very high profile show.
Right.
But like anyone who's watched the second season loves it, and it like you said, like it's critically acclaimed, and like Michael Dorman's performance is acclaimed. So I could see, even if it doesn't get series, I could see it getting like a writing nomination.
Yeah,
I just keep talking about writers.
Right. Drama actress, a lot of The Crown here. Emma, if you went chalk, which I actually did for the 6 spots, Emma Corrin, Olivia Colman, Elizabeth Moss, Uzo Aduba for In Treatment, Journey Smollett for Lovecraft Country, and MJ Rodriguez for Pose. The other options would be Phoebe Divner for Bridgerton, Sarah Paulson for Ratched, then like Mandy Moore for This Is Us, Aya Cash, and down the line. Do you have any of these? Did you go stray away from the expected nominees here at all?
I did. I have Phoebe
Nice.
getting in. And then I apparently last week, I don't even remember doing this, I put in Sarah Paulson.
Nice. I mean, very believable. Who do you have out then?
I have Uzo, Lizzie, Olivia, and Emma in the top 4. So I don't have Journey. And then who was the other one?
MJ Rodriguez. So you knocked both
yeah.
of them out. Yeah.
I took out Journey even before Lovecraft was canceled.
Mm-hmm.
So like Lovecraft, like, you know, it didn't do that well over the winter. Like it got these series nominations, which I think kind of masks like the fact that it did underperform. Like its individual actors didn't do that well. And it did get the SAG Ensemble nomination, but not for any individual actors.
Right.
You know, like Bridgerton got in for Reggae. And then like if you like look back, like shows that only got an ensemble nomination at SAG, they don't really max out on individual nominations come Emmy time. So I don't have Jonathan Majors in for actor and or Wumi Mosaku. I do have MK Dubs, Michael K. Williams in supporting, and Courtney B. Vance in guest.
Wow.
So those are my Lovecraft acting.
Wow. I actually just today switched Jonathan Majors back in.
Wow.
Because we could go to
because of Loki.
Well, no, I went back in and looking at like best actor, and I'm just like, it's again not the strongest category, I'd say.
No.
So right now the odds are Josh O'Connor for The Crown to win, Billy Porter Pose would be 2, Ray J. Sean Page for Bridgerton 3, Matthew Rhys for Perry Mason 4, Sterling K. Brown, This Is Us for 5, Jonathan Majors 6 for Lovecraft Country. That would be the top 6. I have 5 of those 6. I knocked out Matthew Rhys for Pedro Pascal for Mandalorian, who I just actually think is good on it, even though he's under a mask. I know he's like not probably doing as much because he's under the mask, but I'm into him, and I think his voice acting is great, so even when he's doing it. So I have him in, and I put Jonathan Majors in instead of basically Matthew Rhys, because I did have Matthew Rhys in, but I switched him out. Beyond Pedro Pascal, you have Milo Ventimiglia for This Is Us, Joseph Fiennes for Handmaid's Tale, who's making like a full court press because this season, he's been like, you know, kind of, this was like a big season for him. Justin Theroux for Mosquito Coast, Anthony Mackie for Falcon and Winter Soldier. What do you got here, Joyce?
Like I said, I don't have Jonathan in.
No.
I did have Pedro for a long time. So like I don't think I ever had Jonathan in. Sorry, Jonathan, just because of like the Lovecraft like lack of nominations in the winter. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't ready to like check them off in like every single acting category. So I didn't have him in. I had Pedro for a while, and then I dumped him for Milo.
Nice. Wow.
Because just okay, so he was nominated 3 years in a row, and he was dropped last year when it was competitive because we got double succession, you know. Mm-hmm. And you know, we have like Jason Bateman and then Ozark, who's always nominated, and you know, those guys are gone, and I could just see them like going back to something familiar, and people love that character. I do support, I guess not support, but like I see why you would predict a Matthew Rhys snub, because that show, like I enjoyed that show. I watched it last year. Actually like binged like all the screeners. Nice. But it, you know, it's not like a huge hit or anything. It is coming out for a second season. but it's not like buzzy or like talked about at all. Like, and Matthew was really good on it, so but I could see him not getting nominated.
Yeah, it's not an anti-Matthew. It's just I feel like the show is not. I feel like on the HBO hierarchy, it's been like knocked down by a bunch of other different things, and like in the consciousness, it's not as up there as some of these other ones. I guess one person we didn't mention who I guess could easily get nominated is like Anthony Starr for The Boys. If we think The Boys is going to be,
Oh, I would love that.
like I could see that happening.
I think if he went like supporting, I would predict him.
Right. Supporting actors drama, we'll go quick. Gillian Anderson, The Crown, kind of a runaway prediction here to win. The other nominees, if you go chalk, Helena Bonham Carter for The Crown, Wunmi Masako for Lovecraft Country, Ann Dowd for Handmaid's Tale, Samira Wiley for Handmaid's Tale, Yvonne Strahovski for The Handmaid's Tale, and Cynthia Nixon for Ratched. That's the top 8. I actually have all of those 8. And then
you're just copying everything.
Oh, actually, that's actually not true. That's, I think, 7. I miscounted. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the top 8, then Tatiana Maslany would be the 8th for Perry Mason. I actually threw in Nicola Coughlan for Bridgerton as my 8th instead.
I also have Nicola in there, and I also have Cynthia Nixon. I put her in. I just put in like double Ratched.
I put Cynthia Nixon in too. I will say, like, I think the rest of the top are good, and my counter to your Wunmi why you don't have her nominated is I have her nominated because she's great on Loki. And I think people will just be like, oh, I like her on Loki and she was good on Lovecraft Country, so we'll nominate her.
Again, I don't know if that's just like the logic people would use.
That's how I would think. So I'm probably wrong, but
yeah, I don't know this category. Yeah, I mean, it could just be like a ton of Crown people. Like I don't think, Emerald's not in the top.
She's close though. I think she's like 9th. And Janae Ellis is 9th, and then Emerald Fennell is 10th.
Yeah, I have Emerald. I also have Erin Doherty for The Crown. So I have quadruple Crown.
Wow. I mean, this is another one of those where we talked about, like, for supporting actor in a comedy, you could tell me any number of 8 nominees and I'd be like, yeah, sure. Like Madeline, we didn't
could take over this category.
Right. Like Madeline Brewer had a big, like, she could easily get in, like, yeah, this could be like big Handmaids. I would love to shout out Brooke Smith for Big Sky, who was running her own Emmy campaign.
Yeah, her personal FYC.
Amazing. Hopefully, if that works, that'd be awesome. Good for her. I mean, like, she can get in. More Bridgerton people can get in. I don't know. It's a loaded category, as you said. But I think Gillian Anderson will win. So sure. But any beyond her and Helena Bonham Carter, you can tell me any combination I feel like would be right.
Yeah.
Supporting actor for drama, not as deep, let's say. We've talked about this a lot because of all the Marvel people that you could throw in.
Who I still have in there.
I kind of changed it a little bit, but Michael K. Williams is the top choice for Lovecraft Country. Tobias Menzies for The Crown 2. Bradley Whitford, Handmaid's Tale 3. John Lithgow 4 for Perry Mason. Giancarlo Esposito 5 for Mandalorian. John Benjamin Hickey for In Treatment 6. Anthony Ramos 7 for In Treatment. And then Jonathan Bailey 8 for Bridgerton. And then you have beyond that, Chris Sullivan for This Is Us, O.T. Benley for Handmaid's Tale, Wyatt Russell for Falcon Winter Soldier, Brule for Falcon Winter Soldier, which I know you have both of them, I think, still.
Yes.
I have Wyatt in, and that's it. I did the chalk otherwise. I booted out Jonathan Bailey from Bridgerton. But again, any number of these could be right.
Yeah, I don't see both him and Brule getting in. But I also, at this point, I don't know who I'd replace them with, so that's why I still have them in there. So I have a couple days to switch them out.
I'm also very curious about this category because I'd love to see Michael K. Williams win, and maybe he will, but I also feel like he could be vulnerable in the long run, and maybe like Giancarlo Esposito wins, even though he didn't have very much to do in Mandalorian. I don't know.
I have Giancarlo in first, but also that's also partially because I want him to be an Emmy winner.
Right. And that's kind of like
Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul.
Right. So I'm just like, I don't know. I guess we'll see. Guest actress, I think we've talked about a lot here, but Alexis Bledel won. Felicia Rashad, fortunately for her, before Emmy voting, she decided to tweet about Bill Cosby after Emmy voting closed. But she's running 2. Rosario Dawson 3 for Mandalorian. McKenna Grace 4 for Handmaid's Tale. Claire Foy 5 for The Crown, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus 6 for Falcon Winter Soldier. I actually have Felicia Rashad out just not even because of like her recent controversy, because like we said, like the voting already closed, so it won't affect her nomination status. But I have Julia Louis in instead because I just couldn't think of another person to knock out besides Felicia Rashad. While I think she's good on This Is Us, it's like the least buzzy performance of those top 6, I'd argue. So that's why I took her out. Like, you know what I mean? Like Rosario Dawson and Mandalorian, people really loved. McKenna Grace, again, I think The Handmaid's Tale is like has like a resurgence, let's say, or whatever. Like I feel like people really responded to her performance. Julia Louis-Dreyfus to Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Claire Foy on The Crown ruled. I don't know. What do you got?
I think I don't have McKenna in, and I have Julia in instead. So I still have Felicia, and yeah, like her tweet and the subsequent tweet won't affect the nominations. If she gets in, I feel confident saying like she won't win.
Yeah, I could see her not winning. Let's just say.
I mean, she hasn't won for this. Even like 2 years ago when we thought she was going to win and she didn't win, and Cherry Jones won for like 2 minutes on Handmaid's Tale. So I think this will be like a test if like how much voters are going back to the This Is Us well.
Right.
Because I think if you ask any This Is Us fan, like she didn't really do much this season, and like the true like deserving guest actress nominee from that show would be Jennifer C. Holmes, who I don't even know where she is in like our rankings.
She's 100 to 1 for us. Yeah.
So, and you know, like we've talked about before, like sometimes they do make good decisions in the guest categories, and sometimes they just like are very name checky. So this is like one of those instances where it's like, are they paying enough attention, or they're just going to check off Felicia Rashad again?
Right. And we'll find out, I guess. I don't know. It will be interesting. Guest actor, I think we've talked about this too, but Charles Dance, The Crown would be the chalk would be Charles Dance, Courtney B. Vance for Lovecraft Country, Michael Angarano for This Is Us, Timothy Olyphant for Mandalorian, Mark Hamill for The Mandalorian, and then on the fringe would be Patrick Dempsey, Bill Burr for Mandalorian, Don Cheadle for Falcon and Winter Soldier, Carl Weathers for Mandalorian. I actually booted. This is a tough one because I wanted Patrick Dempsey in. I had to think who else.
McDreamy stan.
Gotta throw McDreamy in for his first Emmy nominee for Grey's, a legendary show and a legendary character. I knocked out Timothy Olyphant. I don't know.
Wow.
Well, I was just like, they're not going to knock out Luke Skywalker. Like Mark Hamill, I feel like is like a lock. Who's gonna like? You're not going to nominate Luke? I don't think so.
I still don't have Mark Hamill.
I guess the other option would be like Angarano for This Is Us. Again, that could be like my bias against like network shows, and maybe people don't care about This Is Us as much as these other ones. But so you don't have Mark Hamill.
No, I have Bill Burr.
Wow. I mean, he's actually good on it and like really good, but I just don't think he's gonna get in.
Yeah, like I mean, I have Tim in one, so I'm not.
Wow. I threw Dance in one. I'm in shock.
I mean, everyone has Dance in one. I have everyone else except for Mark. I mean, I'll probably put him in on like Monday night, but
nice.
Yeah.
Come to the dark side. That's a Star Wars reference. Limited series. Chalk nominees would be Queen's Gambit, I May Destroy You, Mayor of Easttown, Underground Railroad, WandaVision. You'll be surprised to know I have all of those. 6 would be Small Axe, 7 It's a Sin, 8 The Undoing, 9 Aretha, A Genius Aretha, and 10 Fargo. I could make an argument honestly for It's a Sin, but I think it'll be the chalk.
I love It's a Sin. I would love to see it get nominated, but yeah, if there were 6 slots here, I would probably put in It's a Sin.
I think so. It would, yeah, I think it would be ahead of Small Axe because I just feel like, again, Small Axe people are going to think of as 5 different things instead of one cohesive thing.
But yeah, I have the same 5, and yeah, I mean, you would just say, I think like on paper, like WandaVision looks the weakest, but we've talked about like how there's just like no buzz on Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
So
but, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. I have those 5 in. Boy, talk about a great TV movie. What a category, Joyce. We know we were all excited for this one. Sylvie's Love, Uncle Frank, Robin Roberts presents Mahala, Oslo, and Christmas on the Square. That's the chalk 5. That's the 5 I have.
I have that.
Let's just move on.
I love Sylvie's Love, which was like campaign for like film awards in the winter too.
Yeah.
And now it's back here. So
great. Let's move on. Yeah. Limited series actress. The chalk would be, this is a great category as we've talked about endless times. Annie Taylor-Joy for Queen's Gambit, Kate Winslet for Mayor of Easttown, Michaela Cole for I May Destroy You, Elizabeth Olsen for WandaVision, Cynthia Erivo for Genius. It's 5 nominees only in this one. And then Thuso Mbedu for Underground Railroad would be 6, Nicole Kidman for The Undoing, 7, and Danielle Brooks, 8. I actually don't have Cynthia Erivo in, though I could easily see that happening. I still have Thuso in for Underground Railroad. I just thought her performance is so good. I don't know. Like we said, the show could not work maybe, but for the Emmys, I mean, but I just thought she's really good.
I still have Thuso in, but yeah, I can easily see it just being that chalk 5 with Cynthia, just because I think, you know, she is playing Aretha, and I don't know like how many people knew like that show aired over 4 days back in March, but it did.
Right.
And I don't know. I guess like it's just, I mean, we talked about this last week with, and how like last year, you know, like Octavia Spencer got in for that Netflix movie that no one was even considering really. So I can see Cynthia getting in. Yeah, Thuso, I think, yeah, this is another case where just hoping that like enough people are paying attention and watching to vote for her.
Yeah.
So I don't really foresee a lot of acting nominations for Underground Railroad, unfortunately. So I think like this is their best shot with her, obviously.
Well, spoiler alert, I have another Underground Railroad nominee, but that's definitely
I still do, but I don't think it's getting like
yeah. Best actor in a limited series or movie, Ethan Hawke, Good Lord Bird is the top choice. Hugh Grant for Undoing, Paul Bettany for WandaVision, Lin-Manuel Miranda for Hamilton, and Jeff Daniels for the Comey role. That's the 5 if you were going to go chalk. I have 4 of those 5, and then I have Ewan McGregor in for Halston. He's the 6th choice. Other options would be Leslie Odom for Hamilton, Bryan Cranston for Your Honor, Joel Edgerton for Underground Railroad. I'll give you a potential upset that I could see happening if the show. What about Ollie Alexander for It's a Sin?
I want to put him in, and maybe I should.
I kind of feel like there's like that is a nomination I could see happening because I think there's again buzz around his performance, and this is a top heavy-ish category where a lot of the options are like, gosh, I love Lin-Manuel Miranda and Leslie Odom and Hamilton, but I cannot believe we're still giving this even Hamilton movie award. It came out over a year ago now on Disney Plus. Somehow it's still up for things. I don't know. Like I said, I have Lin in, but I don't know.
Well, I also I feel like I have Leslie in, but I mean, I guess I understand why Lynn is so high, but it's like, isn't like Leslie's performance like the preferred one? I don't think both of them are getting in. I don't
think so. I only have Lynn so high because of his name recognition, to be perfectly honest.
I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm like overthinking it that they're actually voting on like this 5-year-old performance that
I don't know.
recorded. But I should just put Ollie in because I mean
maybe I will too. Maybe we should both put him in.
Yeah. I mean, because I have the top. I have Paul, Ethan, Hugh, and Ewan, and then I just like dumped Leslie in there because I don't think Jeff is. I
also don't think Jeff Comey. Jeff Comey. James Comey. Jeff Daniels plays James Comey in the Comey role. I think people are way past caring about this, so I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know. People want to revisit it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I think I put like Leslie in as like a placeholder because I didn't know who else to put. Maybe Ollie will be like my Hope Fiction in here.
I mean, that could be a good one. For supporting actress in a limited series or movie, Kathryn Hahn remains the top choice for WandaVision. Mariel Heller for Queen's Gambit, Jean Smart for Mayor of Easttown, Letitia Wright for Small Axe, Julianne Nicholson for Mayor of Easttown, and Rechu Opia for I May Destroy You. I guess that's the top 6, and this is a 6-person list, and then the other options are Renee Elise Goldsberry for Hamilton, Teyonah Parris for WandaVision, Jessie Buckley for Fargo. I actually have that chalk, basically. You'll be surprised to know, but I threw Teyonah Parris in instead of Warechi because I just felt like Teyonah Parris was awesome on WandaVision. I loved her on it. I think she had like a great, really good, like kind of like little mini run there. So I don't know, but what do you got?
I love Teyonah, but I don't know. I feel like all that attention is on like Kathryn Hahn.
True.
For that show for like supporting actresses. I mean, I have the 6. I have the top 6. So, nice. Yeah, I'm not confident Letitia Wright. I think she's pretty high. But again, I think that's just because Small Axe came out in November, so people
right
about it, and she's a past nominee and one of the bigger names here. I have Julianne Nicholson winning, not Kathleen Holland.
Wow. I have Julianne Nicholson still in second, but I could see switching by the time we come around to the actual.
I mean, I could see Mare getting the most above the line nominations among the limited series.
It's true, because we'll go now to supporting actor, and I have another Mayor of Easttown actor in there. I have Evan Peters in, but the chalk would be John Boyega for Small Axe, Bill Camp for Queen's Gambit, Donald Sutherland for Undoing, Daveed Diggs for Hamilton Shore, Brendan Gleeson for Comey Rule, and then Evan Peters for Mayor of Easttown. I have 5 of those 6, but I popped in William Jackson Harper for Underground Railroad. Just awesome on that show. He's so good. He comes on late in the series, though. So again, if people have punched out on it or just didn't watch the whole thing, you wouldn't even know he's in it. I don't think he shows up until episode 7, maybe, or 8.
Mm-hmm.
But he's so good in his 2 or 3 episodes. So
yeah, I had him for a while, and then I dropped him for Aaron Pierre, who's in the first half of the show.
Yeah, well, he's great also, and very memorable. And I feel kind of maybe again a discovery that for the show. I mean, Barry Jenkins is really good at this, so of course, but yeah, I don't know. I knocked out Brendan Gleeson for Comey Rule.
Yeah, I don't have any Comey. I think again, people are just kind of oh, he's playing Donald Trump, and I don't know. I feel like people are just kind of over that. Not the Trump thing, but just it the show came out so long ago, and I don't know. This would be basically what the biggest award it's in contention for, because I don't think it's getting into limited series.
Right. I don't know. I don't think so. We've got so many. Let's just speed round through these remaining categories, because we've been doing this for a while, and I feel like we should.
No one's here anymore.
No, we should wrap up though. Animated program, the chalk are The Simpsons, Big Mouth, Bob's Burgers, Harley Quinn, Archer. That's the 5. I have 4 of those 5. I knocked Archer out, and I threw the South Park Pandemic Special in, because I thought that had
I also have South Park in there.
Great. I guess we'll see what happens. Competition program. The chalk top 5 for this are RuPaul's Drag Race, The Masked Singer, The Voice, Nailed It, An Amazing Race, with Top Chef, American Ninja Warrior in the back. Full Bloom as well from HBO Max. I have that top 5 though, the chalk 5.
I have Top Chef instead of The Voice. So this will be interesting, because last year was the first time Amazing Race was ineligible because it didn't air during the season.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it wasn't nominated last year. So it's can it make it back in? And it's only 5 slots.
Right.
So, and yeah, and everyone loves the season of Top Chef, even though there's controversy with the winner.
That's true, and it was very popular. I could see it getting in. I'm not surprised it's right on the cusp there, but I went with the chalk. Also went chalk on the reality host category: RuPaul, Nicole Byer, Queer Eye hosts Padma and Tom, and Leslie Jones for Supermarket Sweep. That's my 5. That's also the top 5 for our odds.
I don't have Leslie.
Wow. I could see Leslie winning. Who do you have instead of her?
I have RuPaul, Nicole, Padma and Tom, Queer Eye, and Shark Tank.
Wow. Nice.
Because Shark Tank was nominated last year.
Sure. No, I get it. I understand. I think Leslie, I could see her winning, honestly. She's great on Supermarket Sweep. Variety Talk Series. This is the chalk 5 would be Last Week Tonight, Daily Show, Late Show with Stephen Colbert, Late Night with Seth Meyers, and Full Frontal with Sam B. I have Conan getting in on a wing and a prayer, basically, and I took out Sam B, but I don't think that'll happen. I think Sam B will get in.
I actually put Conan in too, and I know we talked about 2 weeks ago about how he probably won't get in.
I still want to leave him in. I will say this. I think if there's any... I have Daily Show winning. I hope that they break this string of giving John Oliver. They're
just so boring here.
It's pretty boring. Not John Oliver. I mean, the category is boring, but I just think John Oliver's show. If you think about a lot of I would, if I was voting, it would be very hard for me to pick between Daily Show, Late Show, and Late Night. Reason is John Oliver's show didn't really change very much because of the pandemic. He just lost a crowd, but it's just him sitting.
Yeah.
Right. It's once a week. He's sitting behind a desk. Nothing changed. He just changed his background and no audience. I understand it was probably a yeoman's task to put it on. And I know how difficult it was under those circumstances to put on a show. that said, like The Daily Show, Trevor Noah completely changed over what The Daily Show is. I feel like completely like redid how it is done, like what people are expecting from it, and was very timely, time and again, with like coronavirus and George Floyd's death and all these different things, that like he was making like really great, compelling shows. And Stephen Colbert, I think, like did a whole rebrand of his show and like did a great job. And Seth the same. But I feel like if I was picking, I would pick Trevor Noah. I just thought like The Daily Show was like of the ones that had a change for the pandemic, like he did the most, and I think should be rewarded for that. But who knows? They'll probably pick John Oliver anyway.
They'll do John Oliver again. Like it's just like what they did with like Jon Stewart,
right?
You know, and then we had to wait until it was 2013 until Colbert won.
Yep.
So they'll probably win like 7 more before someone else wins.
I mean, the funny thing is, like, Oliver is still fun. Like, it's not like the show's any worse. I'm like, no. It's the same, which I'm like, that's great. Like, it's not like losing ground, but I think these other shows maybe surpassed it this year. And then the last category in our prediction center will be variety sketch series with a whopping 2 nominees. Saturday Night Live and the Black Lady Sketch Show are the top 2, with the Amber Ruffin Show 3 and How To with John Wilson 4. I actually have Saturday Night Live, as you might imagine. And I did put the Amber Ruffin Show in instead of Black Lady Sketch Show. Only hope dicting. I really liked Amber Ruffin. I thought her show was great. On Peacock, I guess this is like all like this year's Emmys, I think will be interesting because it'll really get a sense of like how much are voters paying attention to these fledgling streaming services like Peacock, like, how much more beyond Ted Lasso will Apple TV go? Like those things, like, I don't think we know yet until we know, basically. So that's why I have Amber Ruffin in instead of Black Lady Sketch Show.
You're just going to throw away an easy, like 100% in this category.
Yes, absolutely. I want 50% in this category, but I don't know. I mean, like, I just don't know what people.
I mean, I can see like, people love How To with John Wilson.
True. Great. A very
and
good show.
There's also Z-Way. Who premiered in May, so just like right before voting started, and but there's only 9 submissions here.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess like overall impressions here, Joyce, before we wrap up on what do you think, like what will be like a headline out of the Emmys? Like, will it be like they're gonna re-embrace streaming, or will it be like, wow, networks really had a comeback, This Is Us had like 15 nominations and whatever?
I mean, that very well could happen. I mean, I could just see some categories where we just probably get like 30 or 33% right or something, because they just like check off people or like shows we were not even considering, because you just can't tell what they're watching or what they love. And I mean, like I remember last year because like Succession was not nominated at SAG at all for season 2, and people were like doubting whether it could get like more than like Jeremy Strong or like Brian Cox in, and it got 9 acting nominations. So or it could just be, they could also just reject something that like everyone else loved, because that's what happened with like Empire. Remember, like that was like a huge show back when, that was only 6 years ago.
I don't believe that. It had to be 50 years ago.
Ratings, I mean, that was the last like major broadcast hit. Like the ratings for season 1, which was a mid-season show, was like through the roof. And they did not go for it. Like Taraji got in, it didn't get into drama series. So I could see that's happening to some, like maybe like a Bridgerton or something. Although I think Bridgerton is something more they would go for, even though it's like a romance. But I don't know.
I don't know. So the big takeaway from this, if you're still listening, I don't know. But this was so much fun, Joyce, and we'll do it again. I guess we'll do this again after the nominations on Tuesday, right?
So talk about how wrong we were.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. And make your picks at goldderby.com. Keep updating as much as you can. Joyce, this is fun. We'll talk to you soon.
See you on the other side.